Just got through watching the last 2 episodes of Agatha All Along. This was the 2-part series finale drop. Does it still hold up? Do I still think it's one of the best Marvel shows? All right, let's talk about it. I know I've been a big advocate for Agatha All Along so far. I enjoyed a lot of the episodes. It was a fun ride. There was a lot of great things there. But I'm just going to get to it. These last 2 episodes disappointed me. Episode 8 starts out with a serious tone. Death approaching Alice and telling her, hey, it's your time. Let's go. Pack it up. We're out of here. The show continues on showing what's currently happening with the rest of the Covenant, which is just Jen, Agatha, and Billy at this point. And this is already where the show starts getting a little crammed for me. They kind of just glaze over what really happened to Lillian and say that she took the Salem 7 with her. What? They've been building up the Salem 7 from the first episode, and you mean they tell me they just disappear or die or get taken off screen? This can't be serious, right? It just seems like we got like a time jump or a time skip that later on we never get filled in. We never get that information back. We never see what happened. This, of course, leads them again into another room with another trial. And we don't know whose trial this one is because it's like they're all just waking up in the morgue. But we come to find out that Agatha is the one who bound Jen. Big surprise there. Kind of suspected it after everything that was going on, but it could have been a shocker to some people. Of course, Jen is furious and Billy is shocked because Agatha did something horrible once again. At this point, I don't know why anyone's surprised, but Jen finds a way to unbound herself with a spell and get her powers back, in which case she disappears. She's out of there. Now it's just Billy and Agatha left. Agatha strikes a deal with her ex, which is Death, that she'll get Billy to turn himself over to her because he's not supposed to be around and he'll just keep reincarnating himself. And she doesn't want him to reincarnate Tommy, which is his brother, and that's his whole goal here. So Agatha kind of helps him along in finding Tommy and also reincarnating him to some boy's body who's dying from drowning. I'm sure this will have big implications later. I hope they continue on this, but for the most part, this thread is kind of just ended here for now. Death, aka Rio, finally catches up with Agatha, and she wants her dead person. It's either Agatha or Billy. She was supposed to give up Billy, and she initially didn't. So Death starts to basically just whoop on her for a good 5 minutes. This battle is super anticlimactic. I knew they were going to have to face each other at some point. No, I didn't want any secret invasion, super battle, nothing of that level CGI fest. But I just felt it wasn't a lot there in the battle. It wasn't a lot in the fight. The dialogue was just very generic. It wasn't any big revelations here. It was just a basic fight that you would catch on like a CW show or something. It really was underwhelming. That wasn't until Billy showed up in full Wiccan costume. I guess you can say this is a full Wiccan costume. It was pretty good. I'm not mad at it. But he showed up and he joined in the battle, in which case, of course, they couldn't win. It's Death. Someone had to give themselves up. He decided to give himself up after having sympathy for Agatha. Then he realized Agatha planned that all along. Or did she? Because then she turned herself in to be killed. And Billy got free. This whole thing happened. I still felt like, where are they going with this? Because although the fight scene and everything that transpired seemed a little bit crammed and rushed, they still managed to draw out this one scene way too long. I mean, we had slow-mo shots left and right of just grass and just Agatha laying on the ground. You could have had a lot better use of the time, maybe. It really just brought the show down for me a lot. So this is where I say that the writers so far have been amazing and great, but I don't know what happened here. I don't know if it was they had to take things out or put things in. There was rumors going around that Kang might have been involved at some point. I don't know if that's true, but it definitely feels like something was missing here. It definitely feels like something was taken out. I don't know what it was, but it just feels like they're missing something. Billy moves on. He gets back to his room and he thinks about everything that transpired at the Witch's Road. He starts to look around his room and understand that everything he's seen and did in the Witch's Road was stuff from around his room. He started realizing he pulled a Wanda Kaiser Sose type of thing and just started grabbing things from his room and manifesting them. I thought that was pretty cool. You know, I like things like that, little callbacks and whatnot, but it still just didn't hit strongly to me. I mean, we did this in WandaVision. We did this in Agatha, the first episode. Like, how many times are we going to rely on this? We created this reality thing. I'll be honest, I'm just a little bit over it and not too surprised by it at this point. But that's how they chose to end the 8th and penultimate episode. And if I wasn't binging the next episode at this point, I might have still had high hopes and expected them to finish with a big grand finale. But of course, they released them together, which was an interesting thing to do. I guess they wanted to pair it up to end in Halloween. Final episode, series and season finale, I think, at this point. And it starts out with Agatha in the 1700s giving birth to her son, Nicholas Scratch. One thing I could say about the 8th episode is it kept a serious tone throughout, and this episode starts out just intense and serious with the pregnancy and birth scene. I was not disappointed with this scene in particular. I was not disappointed with them having a flashback and so what was going on. But to be honest, I felt like this part of the show probably could have came in the 8th episode and left all the fighting and stuff in the 9th. But you'll see why more as I continue talking. Agatha ends up asking Death not to take her son. She says she's not able to do that, but what she can do is give her more time. So we see throughout 6 years, her and her son are pulling cons on witches and taking their powers. For what reason, I'm not 100% sure. Maybe I missed it, but I think she's just trying to power herself up, maybe to save her son. I don't know. But eventually, it seems little Nicholas is kind of tired of killing witches. He doesn't really understand what's going on. And one night, while they're asleep, Death comes for him. This sets Agatha off. Now, I'm not going to lie. I did have a small little slither of hope here that Mephisto still was involved somewhere, being how they dropped that hint back in episode 1 or 2 it was. It was just Rio. It was just Death that took him. I don't know if they're going to add more to it at some point, but hey, this was the time. We keep getting rickrolled with this Mephisto thing. It's like he's just a comedy joke meme at this point. It's like a tease to the fans or a joke between the fans and the creators to just drop his name and say, ha ha ha, he's not going to be there. We're never going to do it, which hurt a little bit, but I didn't have my hopes that high up anyway. Agatha continues on her spree of killing and taking witches' powers, I guess, out of spite, anger. I really don't know why she continues to do this in such a malicious way. It just seems like she was just set off in her motivations. Well, she never really was a great person to begin with, so I guess that's just her. After this part of the episode, which does seem a little brighter and filmed a little different from the rest of the show, just transfers right back into Billy in his room and Agatha appearing as a ghost. They have some words about who killed who, which witch is responsible for what, and who's deaf and who's alive. And it wasn't really that exciting. It really started to feel like Charmed or one of the Ghostbusters episodes that weren't great. It just didn't do much for me here. And maybe some people loved it, but I didn't. I had so much hope for the show. I loved it. I loved the writing going through. I loved all the buildup. And I kind of feel like they just dropped the ball on a lot of things towards the end. The show ends with Agatha and Billy saying they're teaming up and they're going to find Tommy. She's a ghost like we knew eventually she probably should be. And they walk off. The end. No post-credit scene. I was flipping through, hoping there was a post-credit scene, hoping they'd give us something else to hold on to, but that was just it. To be honest, I enjoyed the show. I enjoyed the lead up. There might have been one episode in the first 6, 7 that I didn't really like that much, but for the most part, I enjoyed all the episodes. The finale didn't measure up to me. It didn't measure up at all. I feel like they dropped the ball on a lot of things. The fight with Death was just bland. We didn't really get to see Death be Death. I guess they wanted to save on the budget, so we got Aubrey Plaza, which I don't mind, but it would have been great to see her full deathed out for a period of time. We got Wicked in full costume. We got to see his powers all cool and stuff, but it wasn't much there either. I don't really feel like I want to see much more from him. They didn't tease or bring me anything that I say, man, I need to see that. Man, I care about him finding Tommy. And Agatha as a ghost is cool, but really, where are they going to do with this? Where are we going with this? I feel like they really dropped the ball with the Death fight. Jen's character storyline just kind of dissipated with no real ending here. The Mephisto teasing and dropping was just terrible to me. You could have left it out. I guess it was a joke on us, the fans. The Salem 7 buildup just to completely drop them off screen to me was the worst thing. I feel like maybe they could have just added a whole nother episode with them in it. These characters have so much potential. Why even name drop them and put them in there, these cloaks and things, just to completely drop that storyline? To me, that hurt. It was something that I feel like they could have expanded on and it would have been great. It just, maybe it wasn't enough time. I don't know, but a lot of things in this final episodes didn't really wrap up neatly to me. The story of the fighting and everything that was going on was kind of weak. The Nicholas Scratch story, to me, he just got taken by Death. I wish there was more there. That was kind of weak. They kind of made it seem like Agatha had something to do with it, and there was a big thing going on, and it really just wasn't. Everything just kind of fell flat. So we did get to see Catherine Hahn and Aubrey Plaza kiss for some reason. I guess some people wanted to see that. Overall, this series was on track to being one of my favorite Marvel series, but with this finale, it dropped down significantly. I'm going to give a score for the whole entire series, and I'm going to say it's a 6.5. It could have been a 7 or a 7.5 if they just would have ended it right. And if they would have threw in a Mephisto, even a teaser at the end, and if they would have had the Salem 7 full-fledged and we could have had some type of Wiccan battle with them, and we could have pushed it to an 8 or 8.5 because so many good things were done during the season. But those last 2 episodes were just... Tell me what you guys think. Drop a like or a comment. I may be alone on this one. Some people might agree. I'm really curious to see. That's my review of Agatha All Along series finale and the whole season.